everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube, ActionX's show where we talk about all things in the world of television, which normally include episode by episode reviews, season by season reviews, doing first impressions, doing quick impressions, or doing predictions. Today we are about to start our Nancy Drew season 3 episode review journey, and I am very not surprised how my microphone decided to act up when we were recording the video portion. Freaking sucks because I don't know anymore. I don't know. The freaking universe hates me at times. I don't mind. We're chuckling. I don't mind talking about it again because at this point, what won't work? What won't work for me anymore? Because most of the times everything's fine, and then it's like the one time I don't check, and it's like, yeah, it's always when I don't check is when these issues happen. Thankfully, it's never video related. More of the time, it's more audio related, which I'm like, it's the most crucial part. But regardless of what may be, let's continue onwards. I said this before in the original review, the original recording. It's been 2 years since Nancy Drew first came on the air, and it's also been 2 years since we started the show overall, What's the Tube, and it's just crazy how far we come. It's been a very roller coaster over 2 years. A lot of stuff has happened since the fall of 2019. Now that we're kicking off mostly the fall of 2021, I never honestly thought we were gonna go this far. I don't know what I was thinking. I really don't know. Because 2019 me, I mean, by that time period, what was going on in my life? I think my roof caved in. My living room was a complete mess. And I was just starting out a whole new show for the channel that honestly I didn't even know back then I was considering like maybe we would do maybe a few months of this, maybe then I'll find some excuse to stop doing this on schedule. But thankfully, no, that wasn't the case. We were chugging along. We just passed episode 250 yesterday. So that kind of shows that yeah, we're chugging along. This month's pretty big as well, but enough delay. Let's talk about Nancy Drew itself with the premiere. So for me, it's been a little bit. It's been a whole summer without Nancy Drew, so it's a bit of acclimation to get back into that world a little bit. And I feel like they did a pretty good job overall giving us this new story starter, because season 1 and season 2 felt like a complete book, if that makes pun intended. Because the ending of season 1 to season 2 felt like they're still continuing the main story of book 1, and then going into now, I'm assuming we're just going to call it book 2. So far, we're getting seasons of this is how much the characters have grown since the end of season 2, even though technically the gap was only a little bit of time. It still showcases that it's a lot of things are different. This is not the same cast, the exact same cast of characters we saw back in episode 1. These are evolved, more different, more developed characters now in different stages of their life. And even though it's only been 4 months for them, I'm assuming it's been about 4 or 5 months for them in universe. They still been through a lot, and I think it helps them, you keep these characters interesting because you want to know what goes on with them next. And got us finally getting a human antagonist in the form of Tempress definitely shakes things up, since mostly it's been very spiritual ghouls that have been plaguing them for the last couple seasons now. So even though it's still not the strongest episode I've ever seen, it still definitely does set up the stage for a pretty good story that will hopefully build out throughout the next year of television. So let's go through the Butcher recap and talk about the premiere for Nancy Drew's 3rd season. So we begin in the fair. I'm going to call it the festival. Screw it. Nancy Drew is hosting it because now that she's announced herself to be a Hudson, that means she's going to be doing these more philanthropical things, which is hosting an entire fair and kind of making sure everything works, i.e. doing the actual preparation herself. She's doing an interview with the local news about her current attitude of being a Hudson, which won't even have that name for that long, since she plans on, of course, dismantling the company because she just doesn't want Everett's name to continue on for another generation. So that's what her plan is. And she's giving us the cliche, we're catching up on what the characters have been doing. Presumably, normally in a TV show would be, what have they been doing the summer we haven't been seeing their adventures? But no, it's here's what they've been doing in a week. Which feels so weird because like for me it's like it's kind of not believable to see. Okay, these characters are literally going through all these things in one week, but at the same time, it kind of does make sense a little bit. So starting from the top, Nancy's still living with her two dads. That spinoff still developing. Very funny is that when Ryan goes to do his first solo grocery shopping trip, he spends over $600, mostly on stuff they don't really need. And his claim is like, "Oh, we need variety. We can't just stay home." I'm like, dude, you're on a budget. This ain't rich fancy living here. But okay, whatever the case might be. They're also dealing with the mysterious knocks that we've been seeing since the end of season 2. But every time they open the door, no one's there, so they just assume it's a pranker, just like somehow getting into their house, because their house literally is a front door, a little bit of space, and then the second door. And I'm surprised, like, I'm pretty sure you should lock the front door by this point, but I don't know why you don't. Okay, you do you, Drews. Also, Nancy has applied for Columbia, and she's expecting the results from her application any day now. So now she's kind of like getting ready to, like, most likely it's going to be a yes. That means she's going to go off to New York, start a whole new life away from mystery solving, figure out like who she really is beyond that. So she's kind of getting ready to, like, anxious to, like, leave Horseshoe Bay and start that a new life. As for the rest of the Drew crew, Ace already came back from his road trip with Amanda. Still very much in love. Still very much maybe oblivious to the fact that Nancy does like her. That does like him, but we don't know 100% about that for sure. I want to say Bess is on the dating app circuit, but on like traditionalists of like trying to find a partner. She's mostly just hooking up with random people just to kind of like get her mind on things. It's been a very rough 6 months for her. You know, she lost presumably a potential love of her life, and as well as she had Odette and her basically split up because they just can't be together. So she's not really ready to get back out there to make another serious commitment. So this is just passing her the time. George and Nick have not yet figured out if they're going to get married or not. George decided to give Nick an extra week to give his answer, but George realizes that was a mistake because she's very anxious to figure out, is he going to say yes? Is he going to say no? We don't really know. She doesn't know, and it's annoying her. It really is. Fall season's officially hit Horseshoe Bay as like we're getting college. Like seriously, how big is Horseshoe Bay that like college athletes are like nearby? Like I highly doubt there's a Horseshoe Bay community college. I highly doubt that. Where else? I think that's it. I think that's it in terms of catch up. Yeah, that's really it. So at the fair, Nancy recruits the others to help her out, set up everything. Nancy does tell me she has a little bit of over eagerness of like getting the Columbia decision out of the way and then properly refreshing her life to a new chapter. But Ace is, of course, being conservative and thinking like, well, you're not going to forget about us, right? And she said, of course not. I'll never will. I'm rolling my eyes on that, but we'll see how that goes. Actually, no, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. They literally survive like so many crises together by this point. They're going to stay together. It's going to happen. She has up to the corn maze to set up some decorations, and then this mysterious man with a hat just starts trailing her, and she doesn't really get a good glimpse at him. But then all of a sudden, she discovers a dead body in the middle of the corn maze, and she finds the dead body without his heart. So I was like, "Damn, so much for peace, so much for peace." So they regroup. Well, just Nancy, George, and Nick regroup back at the Claw to kind of figure out like what's going on, and they don't really got much because also Bess is out on a coffee day, which I thought, I'm getting some coffee. I see how it is. And Ace is off running an errand. So them three are trying to figure this out on their own, but in reality, their only backup support was Detective Tamura, but sadly, he's left Horseshoe Bay to explore another investigation. I am pretty sure that was code of like, yeah, we really don't need him. And honestly, I'm not surprised, so to speak, in terms of his character, because like there wasn't really much. Like they gave him something to do last season, but it's like unless you're gonna make him and Nancy a couple, which that's definitely not the angle the show's going for anymore. I would have been more expecting along the lines of something else. But if this is the way he's gonna leave the show, I don't mind because we already got like a replacement on the way again. So I think from that point on, we head over to. Do we head over to? Oh yeah. So I think they hear some commotion nearby in town, or they're in town for some reason. I really don't know entirely the point. I don't know. They're interviewing someone, and then nearby where they're interviewing her, they find a small crowd gathering around. Someone wrote a sign, made of blood, oh not blood, paint on a wall saying that if you don't solve this case in 12 hours, I will kill again and steal their heart. So that kind of like really just intensifies the situation even more so. Meanwhile, Bess is on her coffee date, which actually was a coffee date, not really a hookup thing. But and even Bess is disappointed by that. Because she was kind of hoping that it would be a just an afternoon tries-it, which it wasn't. It was not. That was not the case at all. Even Ace had to come in and distract her from the date, which I'm like, I honestly found I thought the claw was in trouble, but no, it wasn't the case. After he picks her up, she looks for his car for some food, and she finds a box of chocolates with another name on it. And she initially thinks like, "Oh, are you cheating on Amanda?" And Ace is like, "Hell no, I'm not doing that at all. We're great." He's just running errands for her dad since the brother's out of town to look for the mom, and then Anna's out for something. I don't remember entirely what the reason was for it. I didn't even remember in the original recording. I think I probably just said she's out. So someone's got to take care of the dad, and Ace is doing it. And Bess is a little concerned, of him doing it because like normally when you start doing small favors for people, it eventually leads into bigger favors, and then maybe it'll cross to a point where it's like it just gets too comfortable, and then that sort of things. But Ace is like, I'm fine, don't worry. I've been in touch with her, so it's like she knows what's going on. I want to say we regroup. Yeah, we regroup at a tent. I think the chain is weird because I think Nancy brings Bess along back to the house or something. That I know Nancy brings over Ryan over to a tent that they find that could be the murderer's tent because they find a lot of strings. They find a lot of like clues laid out for them. They find Ryan's watch, which mysteriously disappeared after the grocery store. So they assume he's hunting down Hudson's and also killing them on Hudson property for some weird revenge vibe. We don't really know what the case is for that. They split up again. I want to say... Sorry, I'm scratching my back right now so while I'm thinking. I know there was another thing setting something up that recently Carson's been getting a lot of new clients in, mostly single clients. And Nancy and Ryan are teasing him. They're like, I guess people are starting to like view you as like the new single stud in town, so it's like they want to scoop you up. And Carson's like, no, that's not it. No, and he's not even ready to date. Which I'm like, you kind of need a reliever too. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Even another lawyer comes in, and Carson assumes she's there to like flirt with her, but no, she's just there for business. Because another clue is that there's a new investigation coming up with these chocolate boxes. Coincidence with the Ace factor. There's an official one being sold by supermarkets, but then there's also another one that obviously looks like the one that Ace has been submitting. So I think Ace has inadvertently stumbled onto a criminal empire here, but also what kind of freaking locals will want to make a criminal empire in a freaking small town? There's literally not that much money to siphon off, but okay, whatever. Then I just remembered again, like, well, Riverdale's been doing that for 5 seasons, going to 6. So I'm like, why am I not surprised at this? Why I am not surprised by the least. Where do we go from here? Yeah, so just keep that in mind for now. That'll come back up later, hopefully later this season. We'll explore that up. I don't know how Nancy and Ryan get to an abandoned Hudson property. I think they're just crossing in references with properties that the Hudson family owns, but has no real like use of it currently. So maybe that's where another body could be hiding, or maybe even the murderer. They're just talking about Columbia, that sort of thing. Ryan is, obviously supporting her. Hopefully that she gets in so that she can like kind of take a break from Horseshoe Bay. And Nancy's not oblivious. There's a chance she might get rejected, so she kind of wants to have like some backup plans going, and hopefully that will be the case, but we don't entirely know right now what's going to happen at the moment. Eventually they do run into the man in the hat, but then before they're able to like really take him on, I think Tempest shows up and manages to have him go away. And again, yeah, Nancy's shocked, like, wait a minute, you. And then immediately Tempest is like, she doesn't even hide the fact, like, yeah, I'm the same woman you met last week. You know, I just took your blood and made myself younger. YOLO. Nancy calls in the rest of the team, and they basically corner is like, why are you doing it? Why are you in town? And you know, because like they know the history of her. It's like, yeah, you're kind of a bad person. You try to use magic to unearth a dark being from underneath the town. I don't think it's smart for you to be here. But she's like, no, it wasn't like that. I was testing out some new advanced magic, and they were just scared of new magic, so they banished me for that. It's nothing that big. I'm like, highly doubt that's the case, but they weren't there, so I was like, whatever. So they immediately assume that, like, yeah, she's the killer, but however, how do you explain her backstory? It's like, she's a 175-year-old being who suddenly rejuvenated herself with Nancy's blood, so that's never going to sit well. No one's ever going to believe that, so they're like, I guess we really can't report you in, but then Nancy gets an idea of who might have actually done the murder, which she thinks so there was a bunch of college jocks from I mentioned earlier. They had a cat with them as their mascot, and she assumes that they're involved in it, so the police immediately go in for the arrest because of Nancy's credibility. But however, by the time they get to them, the jocks have just easily turned themselves in and just told them, like, yeah, no, what we did with the wall, we did that, but it was a prank. We didn't kill anyone. We had witnesses proving that, like, yeah, we were in class, so like it was absolutely not us. They were just waiting on the third friend who was not with them at the time, so because they were looking for the cat. Also, yeah, there's an FBI profiler now aboard Horseshoe Bay. I'm pretty sure he's going to stick around for a while. You know, now that Detective Tomorrow's gone, that department needs some leadership. So I think he's going to stick around for a long time because he's different. Like, Tomorrow kind of like really wanted to push Nancy away. This guy doesn't. He's like, he doesn't excuse what Nancy's done before, but he's like, you're just a local girl who probably got some lucky breaks. That was, you know, that's all there is. There isn't really anything special about it, but, and also he just proves her wrong. Like, you see, your theory that the jocks did it was wrong. So, you know, maybe you should just stick to finding Kaz as your next job post. Sorry about that. Also, yeah, during that scene, Nancy does get a message from the Columbia University board that the results of her application came in. So now she's excited to see what they read, but we don't get to quite see the reaction just quite yet. Do we get any other scenes? I don't think so. I think we cut over they get to the warehouse district. George and Nick are there to kind of assuming they're just searching up another lead. George just blows up at Nick because, you know, it's been a whole week and Nick hasn't like given her an answer to their proposal. He says nothing because when they go inside the warehouse, turns out he was playing this big old acceptance proposal, which was like very sweet. He got their friends. He got her family. Sans the mom, who I forgot. She's all the way in China right now, just having fun, which might not be the case because she sent over some valuable family heirlooms to be symbols that, like, if you have these pieces, you're gonna have a strong marriage down the line. And it was very sweet. And I'm very thankful they didn't get. Because I kind of had a fear last season, like, are they going to just blow the wedding in the first episode? And they're not. They're going to build to it. Whether or not that's going to be a mid-season finale thing or a finale thing, we'll see how that turns out. But honestly, it was very sweet. It was very nice and touching. And, you know, these two people, they don't seem like they work together, but they do. And I commend them for them. I really do. I really do for that. Nancy steps outside to get some celebratory cider for them to drink. To commemorate the occasion. She agrees for Ace to come along to help her out, but Ace asks her, wait a minute, you never accept anyone's help because you always think like you could do it yourself. What's up? You're not 100% here. And she's like, I'm not. You know, she opened the college letter from Columbia. It was a rejection, but a hard rejection. There was no, please try again later. There was no waitlisting option. There was nothing. It was just literally, no, we have no interest in you, so you're out. And she's kind of like questioning her life now because like her whole strategy was to go to Columbia and give her life a redo. But now she can't. She's kind of stuck in Horseshoe Bay. And Ace said, maybe this is a sign from the universe. Maybe you are meant to stay in town, keep solving mysteries, being this like icon for everyone around. And she's starting to see it. She's starting to believe it. They find the cat container that the jocks had from earlier in the episode. And they're like, maybe you're just meant to find cats and like just be a good citizen to everyone. And she's slowly accepting it until she turns the corner and finds the other jock that wasn't at the police station dead over there without his heart. So it's like, fuck, we forgot about the killer for a second. So the police come. Citizens show up. They close off the scene, and again, this is just a testimony to how everyone in the town is honestly reacting to the situation. They don't even bother asking the cops what's up. They just immediately go to Nancy. He's like, what's going on? What do you know? Do you have any leads? What's happening? And Nancy can't really give any good responses. And even she just said, I'll let the cops do it, because she's a little bit shaken up with her identity. Because again, she had a plan, she had a mindset, but even that didn't work out. So now she's just contemplating herself as, what is she really? Thankfully, Ace manages to like start walking them out of the situation before it gets even more awkward. They end up back in the Drew house where they're just celebrating the engagement, still ending the day off on a pretty good note. Nancy's just letting Ace know, like, she does have a backup plan, has some backup colleges in mind, so that she kind of knew this could happen. So she already had some backup strategies in mind in case that didn't work out. She gets a knock at the door, but not the familiar knock she's been seeing lately, but it was a city council member telling her that she got the job of being the community liaison because given what's going on in the town right now, they really need that role filled out. And they're like, unanimously, it has to be Nancy. No questions asked. And yeah, so... And also, yeah, I forgot to mention, it's a volunteer position, so like she's not getting paid for it. So I'm like, anyone remember when Nancy was working for Carson? Remember that? Also, remember Nancy still had like those hours to finish at the morgue, which I highly doubt she finished, as well as she still has a job at the Claw. So I'm like, where does she have time for this? Where does she have time for this? Nancy tells the others the good news, and they're all happy for her. Despite the Columbia rejection, it's still pretty good news, somewhat. Not 100% high up on the list, but still something. She makes a little speech like a little speech. Apologies for that. That like, despite everything that's happened, as long as she's around family and her friends, I think everything will be all right. Everything will be great. But I'm sad to say, Temperance doesn't think that because the cat. Remember the cat? Temperance took it, killed it, chopped its heart out. And I'm just like, oh no, why did you do that? Why? This is like, CW, what are you doing? This is like the third consecutive week that you literally went beyond a certain threshold, and I'm just like, why? She pours the blood of the heart onto like this map, but we don't get to see what the result of it is, ending the episode. So for me, this is still a pretty good premiere it's a very slow start. They're taking their time with this one, setting up Temperance's arrival, putting these characters in new places. Well, not 100% new places, but like setting them up for like doing these new things that they haven't yet before tackled on in the first two seasons, which definitely keeps them fresh, keeps them, keeps their story going as this, Nancy's off year from college is still continuing, which I think that might be the game plan for the whole show. It's like we're just doing Nancy's gap year, and then the show will end with Nancy actually leaving Horseshoe Bay. I think that will be the case, but that's like wishful thinking / if the show gets renewed for even more seasons, we'll see how that goes. But overall speaking, yeah, I liked every aspect of it. Nancy, the two dads, that dynamic's still funny as hell to keep going. George and Nick's wedding, I really hope they build that out. I want to see this every step of the way, building up to that moment. And Ace still better get his own episode this season. I'm still clamoring for that episode, so hopefully we get it. But for me, I'm going to give this episode 1.5 thumbs up. I still enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below, what did you think of this week's episode of Nancy Drew? Yeah, this is time for me to like shut off my brain and start going to bed soon. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the third season of Nancy Drew. If you want to know what we're doing normally and What's the Two besides our Nancy Drew episode reviews, we're currently doing Heels episode reviews each and every Monday mornings after a brand new episode on Sunday nights on Stars. The finale is this Monday morning, so stay tuned for that. We're also doing The Rookie Season 4 episode reviews each and every Tuesday mornings after a brand new episode on Sunday nights on ABC or on Hulu the next day. We're also doing DC Stargirl Season 2 episode reviews each and every Wednesday morning after a brand new episode on Tuesday nights on the CW or free the next day on the CW app. Also, Doom Patrol Season 3 episode reviews each and every Friday mornings after a brand new episode on Thursdays on HBO Max. We're also doing a Chucky First Impression review next week. Hopefully that'll be the start of a new review series. Otherwise it'll be a fun mini review to kind of get you guys hyped for the new Chucky show that's premiering on Sci-Fi next week. Hopefully Sci-Fi doesn't cancel it like they did with Deadly Class and Krypton. I don't forget. So we got a jam-packed week, so it's a hell of a run, so stay tuned for all that. So again, if you're unaware, this has been Listen To from ActionX. Please subscribe to us on youtube.com/ActionX videos. Like, favorite, share this review if you want to, but it helps us get us out there to other members of the Drew crew. Helps us beat up that YouTube algorithm that hates me ever so much in life, as well as sharing us for free here on the interwebs. And also, please ring that bell for notification when our next Nancy Drew review is live, which is normally each and every Saturday mornings. And also follow us on social media to stay up to date with any sort of update for the channel. But until then, stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out.